What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show, and today is my Jayden Daniels eval. Jayden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU. What's funny is that so many people are talking about how old some of these quarterbacks are going to be when they get into the draft, but the crazy thing about it is that most of them are going to be 24 years old. Jayden Daniels will be 24 years old. Michael Penix Jr. will be 24 years old. Bo Nix is actually going to be the first one to 24 this year because his birthday is actually next month. So, to me, it doesn't matter that these guys are going to be 24 years old. The point is that can these guys play quarterback? So with Jayden Daniels, so I'm going to get into the whole Jayden Daniels thing. There are some things that I really like about Jayden Daniels, and there's some things that I wouldn't say I don't like, but I'm not fond of. So let's start with his goods. The one thing about him is that he is a dual threat quarterback. There's no doubt about that. He plays very well when it comes to doing things outside the pocket. He's very accurate throwing outside the pocket, especially when he's on the run. He does a really good job with getting the ball down the field. He can see levels. And when he's throwing downfield, there's sometimes that he has misses that I would want to ask a question about how he missed certain things, but there's also those moments where he keeps his head down. But he can throw down the field. He does do a good job throwing down the field. He's accurate at most times, but there's a lot of times where he comes off as a little inaccurate. But I think he's inaccurate because he's trying to rush the ball. So what he does is there are a lot of times where he kind of seems like he's getting very amped up, and that's where he makes most of his misses, is that after he's extremely amped up, he all of a sudden misses on a big pass, misses on a big play, misses on something. So there are points and times where Jayden Daniels does miss, but he throws a very good deep ball. When it comes to playing within the structure of the offense, he does a good job with that to an extent. Not certain if the offensive line is that good in front of him. It seems really good, but when he's within the structure of the offense, you can tell that he's actually making some really good plays. He's throwing the ball well. He's seeing all the receivers and things like that. But there are times where he doesn't play as well in the structure, but I'll get to that later. The next thing about Jayden Daniels is kind of like a toss-up because he can affect defenses in a manner that most quarterbacks really don't know how to affect the defense. He does a good job with his eye, his ability to look off receivers and things like that. But he does a pretty good job with that. The thing that I don't know is that if he's reading the defense to do that, or if they're telling him what to do pre-snap. So. But again, you can tell he has a very good grasp on the offense. He does have a grasp on the offense. You can tell he knows where he's supposed to be. You can tell he knows where he's supposed to throw the ball. He doesn't throw with much anticipation, but when he does throw with anticipation, he does a fantastic job with getting the ball there. So again, all his pros, he's good at a lot of his pros. Now, here are his cons. One thing I will say about Jayden Daniels is that when he gets outside the pocket, he can outrun people. The problem is that I think that most times he feels that he can outrun people all the time. And that's where you're seeing him take these crazy hits. He gets hit really badly. The Alabama game is an example of that. Like, he had several plays where he took massive hits from their linebackers, and he has to understand that he can't outrun everybody all the time. There are times that you're gonna have to understand that, hey, these guys are closing in on me. Let me go ahead and go down right now. I think that for him, he feels that all I got to do is just make the corner and I'm gone. But you're not gonna outrun people in the NFL. Like we've seen Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw just run some dudes down. Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith, we've seen them run guys down. So I mean, he's not gonna be able to run people out. He's not gonna outrun people all the time, and he has to learn that he's not. Sometimes it's okay to just let the play happen and not feel that there's a chance that you can outrun people. Again, like I said, he plays well in the structure of the offense, but there's times where he doesn't play in the structure of the offense, and he has the tendency to put his head down when he's gotten to the point at where he's made his mind up to run. Like when he's made his mind up to run, he will put his head down, and there'll be guys streaking across the field that he just doesn't see. A good example of that is in the Florida State game. He had Malik Neighbors. It was either Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas running across the field, and he just flat out missed him. And I mean, you're talking about that game. That would have been like a 20-something yard gain just from that, but he missed the route, and all that was just due because he had his head down because he had already made his decision that he was running. So, he needs to keep his head up more often, including on those moments where he feels that he's ready to run. He doesn't extend the pocket as well as you would want him to. There are times where he could extend the pocket just a little more. There's times where Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas just needed a little bit more time to break open. And, he at some point, like I said, this is a part of what he does. He'll break contain and then he's gone. And the moment he runs out the pocket, the receiver is open and he just can't get to it and he misses it. So, again, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Like I said, when it comes to anticipation, sometimes he throws with anticipation. Sometimes he don't. Sometimes he just knows where the play is supposed to go and he throws the ball. But there are times where he could have thrown the ball earlier because you could see that Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas was going to get open and he just didn't throw it to him. Just didn't throw it. Didn't throw it at all. So those are the things that I see. And last but not least, that he takes, like I said, this is a part of him feeling he can outrun people. But again, he takes big hits. He takes big hits. And the last thing about it is that he's small. He looks like a cornerback playing quarterback. And for a guy that runs as much as he does, I worry about that because we know in the NFL look at somebody like Anthony Richardson, who's way bigger than Jayden Daniels, way bigger than Jayden Daniels. He got injured and he was out for the season. So if a guy that big is out for the whole season, what's going to happen with Jayden Daniels, who thinks he can outrun people and takes really big, devastating hits? So I am concerned about him having such a slight frame. I mean, I do think that he does have a lot of tools to make him a special quarterback. The problem is that he's going to have to put on weight. Now, again, like always, when you put on weight, how much of that athleticism disappears? How much of that, because there's a difference between a guy who's always been kind of big and always has run with that big size on him in comparison to a small guy who then has to put on weight, and then that athleticism kind of diminishes as he pack on more and more pounds and more muscle. So, like I said, to me, that's one of my big fears. I know people may hate when I say this, but he does remind me of RG3. I mean, not in a sense of personality wise, because I don't know what his personality is, but he plays exactly like Robert Griffin III. He feels that he's going to outrun people, and I'm not saying like straight. I mean, he does have these points where he can juke a guy and things like that, but there's a lot of that not getting down when you need to get down. Being a smaller, like a more thin veiled quarterback, a thin body quarterback. Also, the point of like not giving his receivers enough time to actually let the play happen and let the play come open. He's a better quarterback in the sense of he can read defenses, he can anticipate throws and things like that. He's not waiting for somebody to get open. But when I say that, he's not when he's trying to throw with the anticipation, he can throw it and he's not waiting for somebody to get open. He just throws it, and he can read the defenses a little bit better. But in all sense of the word, he does remind me of RG3. He has the same arm, same exact arm as RG3 in the sense that he can get it down the field. There are times that he does throw it short. I don't know what that is, but he has the exact same arm as RG3, same body frame as RG3, almost the same mentality when running like RG3, meaning like he just feels he's going to outrun somebody. And I just worry that in today's NFL, where these guys are bigger and faster and stronger, is there a chance that one, with him packing on the pounds, like building up his muscle, does that make his athleticism less? Will he have less athleticism? And two, with having that small body frame, will that open him up for injury more often? So those are things you got to think about with Jayden Daniels. Like I say, he's not a bad quarterback. I actually do like some of the things he has, some of the tools he has in his toolbox. But like I said, the biggest concern for me is his body frame and the fact that he just feels he's going to outrun guys, and you can tell that that's not what you need to do in today's NFL, because you can really risk injury and all types of stuff. So yeah, that's how I feel about Jayden Daniels. I mean, I do feel that he's still a quality quarterback. I still feel that there's a chance he needs to be more of a better pocket passer and learn how to stay more in the pocket. And he does a good job with filling the pocket, but I want to know how much can he fill the pocket when it comes to staying in the pocket. Y'all tell me what y'all think. How do y'all feel about Jayden Daniels? What is your evaluation of Jayden Daniels? Other than that, this has been your man, John Fortune, and this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.